Good morning. Welcome back to our second Anchored in the Word morning reflection for the week. And yesterday we did an introduction. We talked about how this psalm reads a lot like Proverbs, and we see that there's a wisdom orientation in this psalm. So today what we're going to do is go back into it. We're going to look at the difference between wisdom and folly and how this psalm really focuses in on that. So if you have your Bibles, take them, please. Let's turn together to Psalm 49. We're going to read through this section. We won't read the entire psalm, but we'll get the gist of what's there. And then we're going to deal with this topic of folly in contrast to biblical wisdom. Here's what the text says. Hear this, all ye people. Give ear, all ye inhabitants of the world, both low and high, rich and poor, together. My mouth shall speak of wisdom, and the meditation of my heart shall be with understanding. I will incline mine ear to a parable. I will open my dark sayings upon the harp. Wherefore should I fear in the day of evil, when the iniquity of my heels shall compass me about? They that trust in their wealth, and boast themselves of the multitude of the riches, none of them can by any means redeem his brother, nor give to God a ransom for him. For the redemption of their souls is precious, and it ceaseth forever, that he should still live forever, and not see corruption. But God will redeem my soul from the power of the grave, for he shall receive me. Now, the word that we're going to remember today is the word folly. And the point of this psalm is that trusting in wealth is ultimately a fatal strategy. Now, this is still in that wisdom discussion. And so I want to begin by talking a little bit about wisdom. In verses 5 through 9, it says that none can by any means redeem his brother, nor give to God a ransom for him, so that he should still live forever and not see corruption. This statement is in the context of wisdom. And there are several layers to this wisdom. When we talk about wisdom, we could look at wisdom as simply wisdom related to quality of life. And the book of Proverbs talks a lot about this kind of wisdom. For instance, wisdom and how we approach the issue of work. Whether a person was a Christian or not, there'd be a lot of practical insights in the book of Proverbs that would show them how to walk in wisdom towards this issue of work. Or another would be relationship. How do we get along with people? How do we navigate challenging individuals? How do we make sure we're not the challenging individual? Or wisdom in relationship to financial choices and how a person prepares for their future and establishes that security over the course of their lives. Or how about personal habits? All of these issues of wisdom are related to quality of life. But there's a second layer of wisdom, and this is a more significant layer of wisdom, and this is really the backdrop of the entire book of Proverbs. This is wisdom that relates to eternity. For instance, how is a sinner reconciled to God who is holy? Or how does a redeemed sinner, someone who has been reconciled to God, how are they to live a life of true value? So what you can see is that there is a wisdom of quality and a wisdom of eternity. And so all of the book of Proverbs is written with that in mind. How do I find true security? Not temporal security, but security before God forever. And this psalm is going to break down some of the problems that we all must encounter. And it's interesting how he writes it. He writes it as someone who's looking at people in life and recognizing that there are people that are financially strong and prosperous, and it appears as if they can get away with almost anything. They can buy off anybody. And when a person sees that, especially when those are the individuals that are causing grief to someone, that begins to cause us to have a lot of internal turmoil. And so he comments on that by talking about wisdom in the face of the reality of eternity. For instance, all of us, no matter how strong, how vibrant, how much wealth we attain in this world, we're all going to die eventually. And so in verse 6 he says, wherefore should I fear in the day of evil? I look at those people in this world who seem to get away with everything. Maybe even they make my life miserable. And I go, hold on a second. There's something we're both going to face. We're both going to die. There's a second layer to this. When the iniquity of my heels shall compass me about. In verse 6 he talks about this. The idea is that when people when their decisions finally catch up with them, if somebody has a lot of money, sometimes they can buy off somebody who's coming after them. He says, I can't do that. But there is someone who I can't do that with, and that is God. All of us not only will die, but we will face God as judge, and we all have sinned against him. The third layer is that it is impossible for us to settle our debt with God. We can't do it for ourselves. We can't go to someone who can do it for us. Now, in this world, we have the opportunity to sometimes resolve our differences for ourselves with other people, or someone can do it for us. Nobody can do it between us and God. And so he says in verse 7, none of them can by any means redeem his brother. This is your brother's in trouble. He owes a debt. You can pay that debt for him if you live in this world and you're relating to another person. But you cannot pay off his debt to God. The last thing I'll mention is this. God has to deal justly with sin because he is righteous and a just God. Verse 7, nor can they give to God a ransom for him. The penalty is eternal, and we all will face it. The redemption of their soul is precious. It ceaseth forever, that he should still live forever and not see corruption. These 5 problems are something that everybody is going to encounter. We're all going to die. We're all going to stand before God. He's going to deal justly with our sin. We can't pay God off. Only God can resolve the issue between us and him. And so that leads us to verse 7 where it says, none can by any means redeem his brother. I cannot find security in myself, and I cannot find security in another sinner. And so the question we should all ask ourselves at the end of this is, well, then where is the hope? The answer is the hope is not in wealth. It's not in other people. It's in God's provision of redemption in himself. That is why there's a cross, because Christ paid the penalty in our place. He has redeemed us to God through redemption. And that's what we're going to talk about in the next section of this psalm. But really what we should walk away with more than anything else is the fact that there is wisdom and there is folly. Folly is trusting in riches, trusting in self. Wisdom is fleeing to God and his one and only offer of redemption. Have a blessed day. Lord willing, we'll meet again tomorrow as we work our way through this psalm. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Hope that I can be an encouragement to you. Bye now.